And welcome to the Junior Sports Broadcasting Club here at Bowling Springs Intermediate School. I am Coach Cox, and our first club member is
Sadie Lefevre.
Katie. What have you got on your mind today? What sports do you want to talk with me?
It was actually Sadie S. Well, we watched a couple of the Tennessee Volunteer games, and it seems like they're going to have a good season. They did get beat about 2 times, which it's been some of the big rivalries of.
So you're a Tennessee fan. Okay, I watched Tennessee. I watched them play Georgia and was pulling for Tennessee, and they almost beat Georgia. I watched a little bit of the game before I had to go to the game I was covering against Florida, and Dad blamed if Florida didn't come back and beat them 10-9.
Yeah, it was by 1 point. And my mom and dad, they were saying that the coach from Florida said something really rude into the camera with a microphone.
I believe the comment you're referring to, that he loves sending home the Tennessee fans disappointed, didn't he? That was not real nice, was it? He's probably going to be unemployed next year because his team's not doing real good, though, so we might give him an excuse like that, though. But he's kind of under a lot of pressure to win this year. He's winning games, but I don't know for how long, though, but that wasn't real nice, was it? All right, give me a prediction. Tennessee comes to Columbia in several weeks to play the Gamecocks. Gamecocks not playing real well right now. They're not playing real smart. Who's going to win that game?
I think the Tennessee Volunteers, they did really good last time. I think they might do even better because sometimes the new team is even better than the last, but also sometimes it's worse.
Okay, do you have a prediction on the score?
I don't know. I say it will be maybe about, say, 10-7, maybe.
Okay, that would be good. You never know like that. That's possible, though. Before I let you go, tell us what your favorite sport is and what your favorite team is.
If I were to be watching something, it would probably be football, but playing it would be soccer.
Okay. All right. And who is your favorite team?
I don't know many soccer teams, but my favorite football team is the Tennessee Volunteers.
All righty. Well, you've heard it right here, though. So go Vols. I hope they beat everybody but the Gamecocks. How's that? All right. Thank you for sharing with us, and we're going to bring on our next person right now. So our next guy, if he'll come up, I'll let you get in the hot seat, and you can step down now. So here he comes. And, man, we can't miss you. I like that shirt right there, though. I want to know how many batteries it takes to run this thing. That thing's bright. If I put that on, I could go out and lay in the road and be a speed bump, couldn't I? Okay. All right. Introduce yourself.
My name is Keyshawn Watts.
All right. Keyshawn, what you got on your mind today as far as sports?
The 49ers.
All right. The 49ers, is that your favorite team? All right. Well, what's going on with the 49ers? What you want to tell me about the 49ers?
That catch when they played the Chiefs.
Okay, what catch on that? Bring me up to speed.
Number 81 caught over the number 24. He made it.
Okay, who won that game?
The 49ers.
49ers, I think, came back and it was a very close game, though, wasn't it? It was in San Francisco, I believe, and it was the 49ers, I think, came from behind in that game and won it by 4 or 5 points, I believe. Are the 49ers going to make it back to the Super Bowl this year? Who's your favorite player on the 49ers?
Colin Kaepernick.
There's a lot of local players. Did you realize that? There's 3 former University of South Carolina players on that team. Do you know who they are?
He played for the South Carolina Gamecocks. He got hurt.
Marcus Lattimore.
Yeah.
Marcus Lattimore would be one. One of their defensive backs, Chris Culliver, played for the Gamecocks. And then one of their rookie players, Bruce Ellington, plays for that team. So there's a lot of local players that play for the 49ers. Who's going to be the 49ers' toughest competition to stop them from going to the Super Bowl, you think?
The Steelers.
Think the Steelers against them, though. How about the Seahawks? Can they get past the Seahawks this year in the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay. Anything you want to share with us today before I let you go, sports-wise? Any comments or anything you want to share?
The 49ers going to go to the Super Bowl.
All righty. You heard it right here first that he's saying the 49ers will be in the Super Bowl. Are they going to win it?
Yes.
All righty. My man has said it right here, though. All right. Who we got coming next here? We'll bring up our next man. You are watching the Junior Coach's Corner, brought to you by, we have a sponsor, by Zaxby's. Zaxby's is sponsoring our sports broadcast. They are sponsoring our radio station. We appreciate Zaxby's here on Highway 9 as being one of our sponsors. And hopefully by the time that we do our next show next month, that I think we're probably going to have maybe 4 more sponsors that are waiting in the wings. They've said they want to sponsor, though. But Zaxby's is our first sponsor. We appreciate them coming on board and sponsoring all the events here at Bowling Springs Intermediate School. All right, introduce yourself.
My name's Will Fish.
And I will say right here for him, his name is Will Fish, but he does not like fish, correct?
Yep.
Yep. All righty. Mr. Fish, what you want to talk to about today?
That Clemson and North Carolina State game.
Okay. I went to that game. I was at that game, and, well, it wasn't even a game. That Clemson just dominated, looked good. NC State is awful. They're bad. What do you think?
They're bad.
They're pretty bad. I think NC State and North Carolina is going to be a good ball game because those are 2 bad teams, really bad teams.
They are.
All right, what's your thoughts on that game? What do you want to talk about from that game?
I was surprised about the blowout, 51-0.
Actually, it was 41-0, but I was too. That I thought that NC State. I thought that NC State was not going to be a good football team this year, and they surprised a lot of people by actually having Florida State down by a couple of touchdowns the week before. And, of course, they choked, and Florida State ended up blowing them out when it's all said and done, though. But they have a tendency of playing Florida State really well, though. But I think that surprised people, and people actually thought that after they had played and competed with Florida State for a while that they'd be good, but they just came in and laid an egg at Clemson, didn't they?
Yeah.
What did impress you most that Clemson did against NC State?
Their defense. Because against Georgia that first week, it was not very good because we were missing a couple of players on the defense.
And I tell you, I will say, too, I was at that Clemson-Georgia game also, that I was covering Clemson that day, and Clemson's defense really played well that day for 3 quarters. And it was a very, very hot day that day. Clemson's offense really didn't get anything going. Matter of fact, I don't think they got a first down the whole second half. And you could see that Clemson's defense just ran out of gas. And when they did, Georgia's running backs are good enough that Georgia scored 3 straight times in a row on one-play drives, though. So I think Clemson's defense actually is better than they showed that day, though. But what do you think about their new quarterback and some of the players, younger players, have stepped up this year?
It's pretty good. I think we might make it pretty far.
Got a chance to do pretty good. They've got a pretty light schedule. Be a tough game this week. I think they'll have to be tested at home by Louisville, but I think they'll win that game. And they may not have really another test again until they play South Carolina last game of the year, though. Who's going to win that game?
Clemson.
The way South Carolina's playing right now, you might be right, but time will tell, though. All right, what words of wisdom or anything would you like to share before we move on to our next person?
Clemson's going to win.
Clemson's going to win. All righty. Mr. Fish is swimming upstream now. We've got another man coming over to our next person. So I feel like we're playing to tell the truth or something. Sign in, please. Our next guest is?
Caden Jenkins.
All right, Mr. Jenkins, what you want to talk about?
The chances of Clemson beating Carolina this year.
All right, what do you think?
Pretty good because our defense has shown if you can work hard and strive to get better, and we showed that at the North Carolina State game. And our defense really pushed hard and tried our best, and it's going to be our big chances on the South Carolina State game.
So you're saying that the 5-game winning streak South Carolina has over Clemson stops this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you want to know my opinion?
Sure.
I'm a South Carolina graduate, And I'm entitled to go along with you on that right now. That I call it like I see it. I'm honest, even though I'm a South Carolina graduate. But I think that South Carolina's coaching staff has done the poorest job of coaching since Coach Spurrier's been there. And a lot of this, they keep making the same mistakes over and over again. This past week against Kentucky, Kentucky ran the same play 17 times. South Carolina never made any kind of adjustment to stop it. And if they continue to progress like that, or that's not really progressing, I think that Clemson will beat South Carolina by double digits right now. How's that grab you? Is that a shocker?
No.
Okay. But a lot of South Carolina people probably will think that, what's he been, did he get hit by a truck or something hit him over the head? But, I call it like I see it. If South Carolina doesn't get their act together, not only will they go to Clemson and get beat, but they may get blown out. Anything else you want to tell us today?
Just go Tigers.
Go Tigers. All righty. Well, let's see who we got next over here. All righty. Step into the hot chair here and tell our viewers out there, who are you?
My name is Ashton Scott.
All right. What you want to talk about today?
How bad the Gamecocks playing? Well, I am a Gamecocks fan. Like they're my favorite my favorite college football team.
How disappointed are you, and what do you think, why they're playing so bad?
That they have the new coach that they've been using. I mean, the defense, how bad they're playing.
Okay. Why do you think the defense is playing as bad as it is? I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, they couldn't stop a nosebleed right now.
Well, they keep making the bad plays, which, like you said, like when the game against they tried it like 7 or 18 times, and they still couldn't change just to try to get them.
They couldn't. And I don't think it's all – a lot of it is the defense. But I'm still scratching my head. I was going to say scratching my hair, but there's none up there. I pulled it all out from my years of coaching and following sports. But it just really amazed me that South Carolina running back Mike Davis had 186 yards rushing in that game. And Kentucky could not stop him, and he did not carry the ball a single time in the last 9 minutes. And that does not make a bit of sense to me when you're trying to run the clock out and win the game. Kentucky had no answer for stopping him, but he did not get a single carry the last 9 minutes of the game. And during that time, Kentucky outscored South Carolina 21-0. So in my opinion, I don't think that was really smart coaching on the offensive side of the ball. So not only did I think they did a bad job of defensively never making an adjustment, offensively the play calling was not very good, and then what set up the comeback by Kentucky was poor coverage on a kickoff. So I'm going to say the whole game the coaching was not good.
Well, I forgot who they were playing, but it was 14-0 in the first quarter. But the defendants come back and win.
That was Kentucky. That they had Kentucky 14-0. They had run the ball. They'd run 30 plays. Kentucky had only run 5, and were dominating them. And then the second quarter, they're going to be real smart and come out and start throwing the ball and let Kentucky to get back in the game. And why you stopped doing something that got you a 14-point lead. I'm not the smartest or the brightest crayon in the box, but I can figure that that's not real smart.
Well, I don't like Clemson at all, but how they're playing, Gamecocks not going to win against Clemson.
Are you in agreement with me if South Carolina can get their act together that the streak stops at 5?
Mm-hmm.
Because they've had this game, they've got a clock in their stadium, Clemson does, counting down the days, hours, and minutes till they play South Carolina. So they have been putting all their money in the piggy bank on this game right there. They are tired of being that. So they're going to be ready to play. South Carolina just amazes me that they're not really getting the leadership that they should, and just not really playing with a lot of enthusiasm and really playing with a lot of fire. And lots of times I've coached teams and seen teams that may not be as talented, but if you play with desire, enthusiasm, and passion, then you win games, and they're not doing that to win games right now. So do you think this week off, South Carolina doesn't have a game this week, that they've got a week off before playing Furman, do you think that they'll get the problems corrected?
Well, they should practice while they're doing, but the thing is I got to go on Saturday, but they still lost on Saturday.
That's true. So I think they will be practicing. I think they're realizing that a lot of the goals and dreams that they had for this year have gone down the tubes. They are being labeled by a lot of national sportscasters as the most disappointing team in college football this year. And if I was a player on that team, if I was a coach of that team, that would kind of light a fire under me to prove them wrong. But nothing's lit a fire under them this year so far.
If I was a Clemson fan, I would say they might have won last year, but not this year. But I'm not a Clemson fan. But I still am saying that because they're losing streak.
All righty, though. So anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, sir.
All right. Well, next up, we've had the beasts up here, so we're going to bring back the beauties with our females in here. So, all righty. All right. Tell us who you are.
I'm Isabella Rubio.
All right, Isabella. Tell us a little bit. What's your favorite sport?
Swimming.
Swimming. Okay. All right. Well, what do you want to talk about today, sports-wise?
USC Gamecocks.
All right. Are you a Carolina fan? Yeah. Are you disappointed in the way they've been playing? What do you think's going on?
I think the defense has really messed up this year a lot, and that some of the games they played have just been terrible, especially in the defense section.
Do you feel like that we've got bad players, we got bad coaching, or any ideas on what do you think the problem is?
It might be that we have a little bit of bad coaching going on in there, since the players are kind of new off in there in the defense, but the coaches are not really helping, trying to get them pushing like they did last year to get them to have good games this year.
And I agree with you on that, though. They're a young team. They lost some big stars. I mean, they've had, you look in the NFL right now, several players that have gone. But it's up to the coaches to put those players in position to win. I mean, if you've got young guys that are playing that may not be as polished as the other guys, then you simplify what you're doing on defense to be able to stop people. And, you got to make adjustments. And to me, that just – I'm seeing them make the same mistakes over and over again where they're missing tackles and all. And, again, to me, I agree with you. I don't think it's good coaching.
I agree, too, with that.
All right, let me throw this at you right now, though. I think their problem is that they put a 75-foot picture of Steve Spurrier on the stadium. I think that brought back the chicken curse. What do you think?
I think so, too.
I think it did something. I mentioned that to somebody, and they said take Steve Spurrier's picture off the stadium and put Connor Shaw's up there. Would you vote for that?
Yes.
I think I would, too. Did you get a chance to see, I don't know, do you get to go to any of the games?
I went to the game on Saturday since it was my birthday.
Oh, well, happy belated birthday or late birthday right there. We'll say that, though. But the last home game that they had against Missouri, the Cleveland Browns had an off date, and it was kind of neat that Connor Shaw was actually on the sidelines for that game. And actually, he's a proud papa. He's got a 1-month-old little girl and had his little girl with him down the sidelines. Have you had a chance to see his little girl?
No, not yet.
Okay, so, I wish we could have put Connor Shaw in that game right there, though, but he was busy being daddy down there on the sidelines, though. All right, any prediction you've got on will they get things straightened out before they get to Clemson?
I hope so, because I really want them to beat Clemson again to make it the 6th year they've beat them.
Things have been so nice over the past 5 years where we have not had to listen to any obnoxious Clemson fans or anything like that. It's just been really peaceful, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
How bad and obnoxious will they be if they finally win one and stop the streak?
It will just be horrible for me.
I think it'd be horrible for me, too. Although, I try to be nice, and like I said, I'll be at Clemson this coming Saturday covering their game right there, though. But it has been so nice the last 5 years.
It has.
Anything else you want to say today before we move on to our next person?
No.
Thank you for being with us. Next up, and here comes a man, I know who he's pulling for. Some animal stepped on his chest and left a paw on it right there. All right, introduce yourself.
I'm Owen Jackson.
Owen Jackson. Owen Jackson, what you got on your mind today?
Dallas beating the Texans.
That was a battle of Texas, wasn't it? What were your thoughts on that game?
That Dallas's offense and defense was doing really good.
Do you think Dallas can keep this up, or is this fool's goal? You know what fool's goal is? Okay, that's when, for those of people not watching, that's when you go out and you think you've struck it rich and you find out it's just silver dirt or gold dirt in there and it's not worth anything right there, though. But can they keep up this pace, or is Tony Romo and company going to fold like a cheap suit at the end of the year?
I think they're going to keep it up.
You think they will? So you're saying that Dallas is going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it you are a big Dallas fan.
Yes, sir.
Who is your favorite player?
Tony Romo.
I have actually interviewed Tony Romo before, and he's one of the goofiest quarterbacks I've ever interviewed. That he just most of the guys, your quarterback is supposed to be your leader of your team and all, and he just, to that day when I talked to him, he just was kind of scatterbrained and kind of goofy. Do you think that may be why Dallas has struggled over the past few years?
Maybe.
Okay, so we've had one prediction in here that said the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. How far can Dallas go?
They can probably get to some of the middle playoff games.
Okay, so you don't think they can get to the Super Bowl, but you think they can at least get back in the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
Who do you think's the best team in the NFL right now?
I don't know.
Okay. I think it's still up for grabs. You never know who's going to show up because so many teams there. I was glad to see the Panthers get back on the winning track last week when they basically saved my weekend because the rest of my teams had let me down, though. And I thought they were too, but they did bounce back in a big way, though. So anything else you want to mention? What are your thoughts on the South Carolina-Clemson game?
Clemson's going to win
How much?
by at least 14 points.
Okay. And right now, until South Carolina shows me any different, I can't argue with you on that, though. So appreciate your comments today, and we'll move on to our next gentleman over here. Glad to see you have got that sling off now, though, so you're not the one-armed bandit anymore. All right, tell them who you are.
Brooks Bishop.
I feel like I'm on Monty's Rascals or some show like that. Maybe I'm dating myself, Mr. Doohickey. Okay. All right. What you want to talk about?
Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets, all right, and that is where we are going next Wednesday. We'll get the plug in that the Sports Broadcasting Club will be on the road, and you'll want to tune in to see our report on this, that we'll be on the road next Wednesday, that we are going up to cover. As a group, we're going to cover the Charlotte Bobcats exhibition game on Wednesday. We actually will be going down and taking part in the coaches' post-game press conference, the NBA post-game press conference, and we will have a taped report that we will be putting out, Facebook, different places, YouTube and all, with what took place there. So we'll be getting that information out, though. But, all right, what do you want to talk about on the Hornets?
I think they'll be a good team this year.
Will they be one of the top four teams in the East?
Yeah.
Why do you think they'll be one of the top four teams in the East?
We got
Big Al.
Yeah, Big Al and we got Campbell Walker and Lance Stevenson.
Okay.
PJ Harrison.
Okay.
That's 5.
And I'll tell you right now, we lost one of my favorite players, and he went to the Miami Heat. Josh McRoberts left, though. But we've picked up another guy who actually was a teammate of one of my former players from right here in Bowling Springs, Brooks Foster. And his name's Marvin Williams. Marvin Williams played for University of North Carolina, was on a national championship team. Talked to Marvin. Marvin's going to step in and give the Hornets a little bit extra dimension. That he's about 6'10", will be playing the power forward for him, though, but has a nice soft shooting touch. So, again, I think this is a guy, everybody's talking about adding Lance Stevenson and those guys, but don't underestimate what Marvin Williams can bring to the table.
They're going to have to, he's going to be good. And he's coming off the bench and he'll step it up.
I went up the other night for the media time that they had up there, though, and was very impressed with several years ago they had players on the team that could not even make about 5 players that could not even make anybody else's NBA team. But they've got some depth this year. I think there's going to be a lot of competition at the wings. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist has worked with Mark Price, the assistant coach, and they have totally reconstructed his shot. He had the ugliest jump shot in the league. I mean, why a guy has got this far in his career, nobody's ever taught him how to shoot, but Mark Price worked with him, and he was taking over 1,000 shots a day to straighten his shot out. And I talked to Kid Gilchrist, said he was something that he wanted to do, and I think that Coach Clifford said that was the biggest improvement in shooting he's ever seen a player make in his 31 years of coaching. That might be a surprise for people to watch out for.
Yeah, he's gonna he's gonna bang down some more shots with that new shot.
Okay, so he should be able to do that. But again, I think this team's going to be fun to watch. Are you looking forward to going to see him play next week?
Yep.
So hopefully we will have a good report on that, though. Should be a lot of fun. They are now the Hornets, wearing the teal and the purple. They got rid of that orange and orange. The orange and the other color they had right there, though. I like the teal and the purple are back right now, though. And I honestly think they'll be a top 4 team in the East, too.
They will.
All right, our last person up now is our last person coming up now. Our last person is not coming up right now, though. I think he had to run out, though. Anybody else in our group out here want to come up and talk today? So we will probably wrap things up. Again, want you to encourage you to tune in next Wednesday, probably next Thursday. Check Facebook, check the Cox Sports Broadcasting website, that we will have video, pictures, and reports of the Cox Sports Broadcasting trip with the Junior Sports Broadcasting Club going, BSIS Junior Sports Broadcasting Club going up to Charlotte on our first field trip up there. Should be an exciting day that we are going to be sitting in a luxury box. The Hornets have provided and helped us get tickets for that, or giving us a chance to sit in a luxury box. We also are going to participate in the post-game coaches press conference. Hopefully we might get a player or two to interview, and then we're going to have some interviews for on the court, though. So we have got a big week ahead of us next week, though. We appreciate you tuning in and watching the Coach's Corner, the Junior Coach's Corner show here by the Junior Sports Broadcasting Club. Again, want to thank our sponsor. It's nice to have our sponsor, Zaxby's, for sponsoring our broadcasts along with our new radio station. And we hopefully will have some of the information today, maybe have that downloaded to our radio station real soon. On behalf of all of our students that have been on our show today, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next month. Until then, goodbye, everybody.